Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Adventure Cards, and this is part number 35 of my NFL hybrid set build. Part number 35, cards issued between 1970 and 73. If you had a card issued in that time span, you're going to have one card in this hybrid set. If you have four cards, one in 70, 71, 72, and 73, you're just going to have one card. And if it's your only card, of course, you're going to be in the set. And this is going to be a fun page here. I'm going to fold this over and let me zoom in a little bit on these here. And we will start talking about some cards and some players. Going to start off with this 1970 Rich Jackson with the Denver Broncos. And this is his rookie card, Rich's rookie card. And he had cards issued between 71 and 73. He was undrafted out of Southern, and he signed with the Raiders. He played 5 games as a rookie, and he got traded to the Broncos in 67. They switched him from a linebacker to a defensive end, and then his career took off, and he flourished as a defensive end. And he played there with the Broncos until 1972. He was the first Bronco to be named All-NFL in 1970. His career was cut short with a severe knee injury in 1971. He came back in 72, but was really diminished in his ability. He was traded then to the Browns midseason, played 10 games, and retired before the start of the 1973 season. A lot of people, when they talk about Rich Jackson, they say he probably would have been a Hall of Famer had he not been injured, because he was a dominant defensive end and just one of the toughest guys. But that knee injury just absolutely crippled his career. Next, we've got Harry Jacobs with the Buffalo Bills. He was a middle linebacker. This is his last card. His rookie card is a 1961 Fleer. And then he had cards issued in 62, 65, 67, and then this 1970 card. Harry was drafted in 1959 with the 125th pick out of Bradley by the Patriots. Harry played for the Patriots from 60 to 62. The Bills from 63 to 69, the Saints in 1970. Harry was a two-time AFL All-Star in 65 and 69. He was a two-time AFL champion in 64 and 65. And he was part of a linebacker corps with John Tracy and Mike Stratton. And they started 62 consecutive games, which is an NFL record. As a linebacker corps, 62 straight games they started. The Bills' defense was led by this linebacker corps, and they did not allow a 100-yard rusher for 17 consecutive games. You think about that. No 100-yard rushers in 17 straight games. We're talking the 1960s, when that's all they did was run the ball. He is one of 20 players to play in all of the AFL seasons. He suited up in 134 games, starting 130. He finished with 12 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery. Harry passed away in December of 2021. And over here we got a 1972 Bob James card with the Buffalo Bills. And he is on the Bills Wall of Fame in 1998. This is his rookie card, and he had cards issued from 73 to 75. Bob was undrafted out of Fisk, not Carlton Fisk, but Fisk. In 1969, it was signed by the Bills. He was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection, 2-time first-team All-Pro. Wow. But he suffered a horrific knee injury in 1975. After surgeries, he attempted returns in 76 and 77, but he chose to retire. Bob suited up in 83 games, starting 67. He had 9 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries, and 1 defensive touchdown. But he was inducted to the Bills Wall of Fame in 1998. And from what I read about Bob, he was, a guy that was really on a path to a potential Hall of Fame career, but his knee injury was just so severe, he just could not recover from it. Here we've got Tom Janik, a 1971 card. This is his last card. And Tom was a punter and a defensive back. His rookie card is in the 1964 Topps, and he also had a card this 1971. Tom was drafted with the 21st pick in the 1963 draft by the Broncos out of Texas A&I, which now is known as Texas A&M. Tom played for the Broncos from 63 to 64, the Bills 65 to 68, and finished up with the Patriots 69 to 71. He was a two-time AFL All-Star, an AFL champion in 1965. He had a 100-yard interception touchdown return off of Joe Willie Namath. Tom suited up in 114 games, starting 49. Had 25 interceptions, one fumble recovery with 6 touchdowns. That's a pretty good ratio. He was also a punter, primarily in 69 and 1970, with 253 punts. So Tom Janik, interesting career. This guy here, Roy Jefferson with the Redskins, man, he was trouble. Trouble. Roy's rookie cards in 1966 Philadelphia, and he had cards issued in 67, 70 through 70, or 67 through 70, and 72 through 76. Roy was drafted out of Utah by the Steelers in 1965 with the 18th pick. He was a first-team All-American in 1964 at Utah. He played with the Steelers from 65 to 69, the Colts in 70, and then the Redskins in 71 through 76. He was a Super Bowl V champion with the Colts and was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. First-team All-Pro in 69 and a second-team All-Pro in 1968 and 1971. In 1968, Roy led the league in yards receiving. He was tied for punt returns with 28. He was traded by the Colts after a dispute with Chuck Noll, as Roy was the team player representative. That was a bad mistake by Chuck Noll. Great coach, but Roy Jefferson was a heck of a player. He was a key contributor with the Colts in their Super Bowl V victory. And then he had a contract dispute again with the Colts and got traded to the Redskins, where he had a lot of good years. The Redskins went to the playoffs 5 out of those 6 years. He suited up in 162 games, starting 144. He had 7,500 yards with 451 receptions and 52 touchdowns. And he also had 63 kick returns with 1 touchdown. But Roy Jefferson was a heck of a player. Ron Jesse, his rookie card, 1973 with the Lions. He also had cards issued in 74 through 79. Ron was drafted by the Cowboys in the 71 draft with the 206th pick out of Kansas. Ron played with John Riggins at Kansas. They were in the same backfield there. Ron got traded to the Lions, and he played there from 71 through 74. Then got traded to the Rams, where he played from 75 to 79. Ron was a Pro Bowl selection in 1976. He got injured in 77 and played in 3 games. In 1979, he broke his leg. He played just 6 games. And he played with the Bills from 80 to 81 as a reserve. He suited up in 138 games, starting 95. He finished with 265 catches for over 4,200 yards with 26 touchdowns. And he also had 91 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. And I remember Ron Jesse. He was just a good player. He always seemed to be a decent tight end. The great Bob Jeter, Packers Hall of Famer, 1985. Bob's rookie cards in 1969 tops. And he also had cards issued from 1969 through 1970. Bob also had a 61 CFL card issued as well. He was drafted by the Packers in 1960 in the second round out of Iowa, where he had been the 1959 Rose Bowl MVP. But Bob played in the CFL from 60 to 61 as a backup running back. In 1962, he was still under a CFL contract, but was on the Packers taxi squad. As a wide receiver in 63 and 64, he saw limited action. But in 1965, he moved to defensive back, and Bob and Herb Adderley formed one of the greatest duos in football history as defensive backs. Prior to the 71 season, Bob was traded to the Bears, where he finished his career in 1973. He suited up in 139 games, starting 72. He had 26 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries with 2 touchdowns. As I said, Bob was inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame in 1985. And I find it amazing that he only had those 2 cards issued in 1969 and 1970. Bob Johnson, he was a center for the Bengals. His rookie card's a 1971 card, and he had cards issued also in the 73 through 78. He was drafted with the number 2 pick in the draft by the Bengals out of Tennessee, where he had been a unanimous All-American in 67. Bob was the first player ever chosen by the Bengals. A good trivia question. First player ever chosen by the Bengals. He was an AFL All-Star in 1968, and Bob was the last original Bengal to retire. And his number 54 is the only number retired by the Cincinnati Bengals. Bob suited up in 154 games, starting 136. Charlie Johnson, quarterback with the Oilers, even though he's got a Cardinals uniform on. Charlie's rookie card was a 1963 Topps. He already had cards issued in 64 through 67, 69, then 71, and then 73 through 76. So he missed 1968. He didn't have a card in 1970. He was drafted in the 10th round out of New Mexico State by the Cardinals in 1960. He became a starter after his rookie season for the Cardinals for 5 years. He was a Pro Bowl selection after the 63 season and was actually on the Sports Illustrated cover 2 times, in December of 64 and November of 65. He was a backup to Jim Hart in 1967, primarily due to his military service. Charlie was traded to the Oilers starting in 1970 and 71 for them. Charlie went on to play for Denver for the last 4 years of his career, leading the Broncos to the franchise's first winning record in 1973 and was named All AFC quarterback. Charlie retired after the 1975 season. His record as a starter was 59 wins, 57 losses, and 8 ties. And he was suited up for 165 games, starting 124. He threw for 24,000 yards, 170 touchdowns, and 181 interceptions. He also rushed for 539 yards with 10 touchdowns. Charlie died in September of 2024. So there you go, kind of an interesting page where you've got Bob Jeter, who I think was a great player, obviously for the Packers, and then Bob Johnson was a really good center, and just a nice little assembly of cards here. Roy Jefferson is always one of the guys I remember in the 70s was so good. And Rich Jackson, I read about him, and they talk about how great of a player he was. But the knee injuries got Rich, and it also got Bob James. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this. Got a little tongue-tied there a little bit talking about these players, but I always enjoy reading your comments, and I'm having a blast putting this series together. All right, everyone, take care.